Hello, welcome back to my channel. I have been doing some crafts and I thought I would have a little bit of a chat about it in the hopes that it will inspire some people to do a similar craft. And I have been making notebooks. So I think what I've been doing is technically a form of junk journaling, but in the same way as you can do like invisible sewing repair and like really visible mending, there's like a whole spectrum between those 2 points, and I tend to go for kind of something a little bit in the middle where it's like not making super effort to make stuff invisible, but equally not like making a big bold deal of it, just kind of like close enough. I think that's kind of the same principle that I've been adopting with making notebooks. So it's something between like bookbinding as like a craft and artisanal skill and junk journaling, which is where you use kind of a lot of creativity to take materials that would otherwise go into the bin into a notebook, but you make it look junky usually, from what I've seen. I have a friend that does it and I watched a couple of videos about it, and I'm not keen on that aesthetic, and I'm not keen on spending loads of money on glue to make book spines. So hopefully this kind of gives that medium option, which has been working nicely for me and then maybe works nicely for you. So how have I been doing it? That's the thing. I kind of wanted this to be semi-tutorial, although I'm not going to show you doing it. 3 things that you'll need if you're doing this. The first is something to act as a cover. So something that's a piece of card in some format or another, and I'll show you what I've used. Pages, something to use as the actual pages of the notebook, and I've got a few different options there, and then like a way to attach the pages to the notebook, and then anything else that you want to use to decorate, I guess. Because of what I've been using, I've kind of been using some of the natural decoration, but I'll show you the different stuff that I've done, and hopefully that sparks off in lots of imagination. So if you are keen on doing this yourself, it gives you kind of a good idea of what you can try, where you might go with it. And if you have more ideas or more suggestions, pop them in the comments, and then I might be able to use that, or anyone that stumbles across this might be like, oh, I do this craft and this could be a great way to use it. So I'm going to start with probably like the simplest and then go a little bit kind of more complex. So this is the first notebook that I made. I used a Galentine's Day card. I just opened it and reread it. And this is the most pre-purchased items version that I did. So this is a card that my best friend gave me. Wish my best gal pal a great day. And I would like to be wished a great day many times, and I thought actually that's quite a nice thing to have as a notebook cover. So on the inside of that I've got some crafting paper, which I bought from Hobbycraft as a pack of like crafting scrap paper, which I don't normally like to do, but for the first one, just do it. There's a recent like Charlie Neavy or Stitchery book, like just get the kit. Just get the kit for the first time, you can get the kit. This was me getting the kit for the first time. So I got this, and I got a notebook insert, which they sell. I think it came in a 2-pack for a couple of pounds. I've left the little message on the back because I thought that was nice. And what I've done is I got some of this, which is crochet cotton. I poked some holes just with a pointy sewing needle that was the right thickness to put this cord through, so it was one with quite a big eye. Poked 2 holes through, and then poked 2 holes through on the like little notebook insert into the center of it, and then I just strung that through. So this as a craft involved probably about 4 pounds of material, maybe a little bit less, I can't remember, I made it a little while ago, and a Pritt stick and like a glue stick, and then maybe 15 minutes of like faffing about with it and just thread it through and tied it, and that is the simplest of any of the notebooks because essentially it's just putting a cover on an existing notebook. Let's level it up. What I've been doing more recently, like what I've been doing today, is I've again been using cards. I've been using those as the cover, and I've been sticking paper and stuff on the inside, and then I've been attaching my own pages. So let's find one that's not very heavily modified. Okay. So this was part of a bigger birthday card. So it had, I think, yeah, it had 2 rows of dogs and then it had happy birthday written on it. So I cut off the bit where it said happy birthday and I cut off the other row of dogs because it was kind of in with the text. There was no way to like flatten off the top. And I didn't cut this flat either because I didn't want to cut the dog's hats. It's slightly wonky. But yeah, so this is the card. In order to cover up the little bit of writing, because where I'd cut it off I still had love, and then I think this was from a work colleague, so I think it said love Phil in it, as like a happy birthday thing. I've stuck some stickers on it. So this was just a pack of stickers that I found. I have a little drawer for stuff for like paper crafting and such the like, and so that was just on there as a sheet of stickers. They've got glitter on them, and in order to balance that out, I stuck some on the other side. The pages are actually recycled from kebab shop paper. So if you go and buy a takeaway from the kebab shop, they wrap it in 2 pieces of paper. So the inner paper quite often has like bits of food on it, like cheese or oil and things like that. But the outer one quite often is clean. So I've kept hold of those, and also like packaging that comes when you buy stuff like online. Like Amazon uses paper packaging for quite a lot of it. I keep that, push it out flat, and then I've got it folded up. I'll grab it. So I've just got a little stash of this paper, and I keep it for doing sewing patterns on as well. But I've just got a little stash of it for sewing patterns and notebook pages. I've got like a couple of years worth, so it's like a decent amount. So that's what that is, and I folded it so you've got like a piece that's twice the width of the notebook, so you can fold it and then have like the leaves of the paper. And then I hand sewed these, so I've done a little line of back stitching. So it looks like that on the inside, and I've got like the really neat side there, and then the slightly longer stitches. A little bit harder to see because it's white on white, but slightly longer stitches just going down the spine of it. And I think that looks really quite neat and tidy. Like it's definitely enough to show its construction. It's not like really super neat and hidden, but it's also not like glaringly obvious. It's not in like a bright pink or anything like that where it shows the stitching and it's very messy or anything like that. It's just kind of like done neatly, but definitely also not done by a machine. You probably could put paper, I know you can sew paper and cardboard through machines. I don't know what the limit is, but if you had a sewing machine and you wanted to like whiz through a little line of stitching, you probably could. I did these all by hand. I like hand sewing, and if anything's like a really small amount of sewing, I'd much rather do it by hand than put it on a machine. Like the hem of a circle skirt, that can go on the machine, but like for something this small, I've just done it by hand. You probably could do it by machine. So what, oh, and also as an alternative, you could use staples. Just like 1 or 2, like with this one possibly even just 1, but something that's a little bit more like this size, 2 staples would do it. And in fact, I think that's how the how the notebook insert is held together. It's just held together with staples, 2 staples in there. So you could do the same on your own notebooks if you are good at paper crafts and have like good supplies for paper crafting, but you're not really good at sewing. It's not very difficult sewing, so if you wanted to learn, this isn't necessarily like the worst project to learn for because it's just back stitching, but it is a little bit trickier than going through fabric. It's a little bit unusual to poke the needle through and do that. I would say it's enthusiastic beginner probably levels, but it is only one seam. So what if you don't happen to have a big stash of kebab shop paper that you've been collecting for absolutely ages, and the collection of birthday and Christmas cards which you felt weird about throwing out and therefore also hoarded? I do have one here that's made out of some different materials, and that's this one. This is my quote book. So if I read like any quotes or see something in like TV or movies, I usually like to make a note of it and then I write them down. So I've got like all of my favourite quotes collected together. And for this, if you have a little look at the pages, you'll notice that they're in different colours. So this notebook is made from, I had a pack of crafting paper that just was like hanging around. This was stash busty. And so I just folded the paper again to that like correct width, cut it to size, and then used it in that. This one I did as different leaves as well, it appears. So I sewed each line of stitches down in the middle, but I did 4 of those, so you can see that for every colour I've got a separate little fold. And I did that in the crochet cotton, the same as the one I used on the Gal Pal one. And for the outside of this, I actually used an old spiral bound notebook. So I use spiral bound notebooks for work, and then I rip the pages out because of confidentiality. So I write confidential notes on it and then I rip the pages out and then I can shred them. And this is the cover of that. So it's a hardcover from a commercial notebook. When I was finished with it, I took the wire spiral bound out of it. Although I guess you probably could have kept it in and then like sewn to it or done some other attachment. I know you can get like the pressy machines that will make the holes, so I guess you could refill it in that way, but this is what I did. And then as you can see, I have wrapped it in fabric. So I got a book called Making Hand Sewn Boxes from a charity shop. I can't remember who the author is, but the techniques that they had in there is what I've used in this case and what I've used in another one. And for this, I cut the outer fabric and did a process called carding. So I had a big wide bit around here, so I'd wrapped it around and then threaded up and down, sewing through. This is a terrible description. I don't have one like partially made to show you. Yeah, just sewed the top to the bottom, basically just ran long threads up and down along this, and then that held it, was able to like pull the fabric tight around the board that way and that way. And then I took a piece of fabric, folded it over, and then I sewed round the edge. If you're familiar with sewing, I used a whip stitch. And then that just creates this lining. I then sewed that into the row of stitches that I had holding down the middle of the leaf, this row of stitches, for the front and for the back. And I also left a little gap so I can have a little bit of a spine on this one, so then it closes really nice and flat. This one's a lot more kind of complicated for that, but it was a good demonstration of different page options. I did another fabric bound one, which was a little bit simpler, and that's this one. So inside this is just a card, the same as I had before, just like a birthday card or a Christmas card or something like that is inside here. I've got my kebab shop pages, and I did the cover of this and then I sewed the pages in, and that's the order that I did everything in first. So make the cover, sew the pages down. Although in this one, I appear to have done it without going through the outside of the cover. Very exciting. I think I just sewed only into the inside fabric. So again, just a regular card, went around the outside with all of it, sewed it using that carding method. So there's like strings going along here, which is holding the red on, stuck a little bit of fabric over it and sewed it down. So I had a piece of cardboard with fabric on both sides, and then I sewed the pages to the fabric, and now I have a little fabric bound notebook with some pages in it. And the fun thing as well is you can choose how many pages you want to put in, and if you want to like make a gap here, so you can just put the cardboard further apart and then have the fabric in the middle. I haven't tried it out, but I have thought as well, if you only wanted to do paper craft, you could potentially put a piece of, either you could like glue a piece of cloth that was kind of wider, or possibly use a piece of duct tape to hold two pieces of cardboard kind of together but not buttered up like a card, and then that could give you kind of that spine if you wanted to. So that's an option. Other little aspects of the craft is that I used various different things to decorate the outside. So if you have, because I quite like using this as stash busting, things that I've just kind of collected and kept hold of, or bought for another project and have little leftovers for. If you've got little bits kind of hanging around, you might have stashes of different things. So what should we start with? I've got this guy, see you later. And on the inside of this, my friend, when she started junk journaling, said she was really interested in having some sheet music. I still had a relationship with my parents at the time, so I asked my dad if he had any old sheet music lying around, thinking that he might, and he did. So the inside of that is some old sheet music. It's Mozart's Enchanted Flute, I think. So that's in there as the kind of end papers, I think is what they're called, and that I've stuck in with PVA glue. I used some of the kebab shop paper because it's white. I just used PVA glue for that to cover the inside of the message that I had in there. So I've got someone where like, "Dear Sarah, happy birthday, love." And then I think this one's Auntie Fee. And again, I just cut off where it says happy birthday off the top. So, or like, another year older and still gorgeous is what I think this one said. So that's there. So that was just that. So that's really simple. Sewing in the pages, gluing something over the back. This one is a piece of kind of collage work that I did. So this said, "Ooh, matron, another birthday," or something like that. So I cut off the bit where it said another birthday. I don't know why, I didn't like the "ooh, matron." Normally it doesn't bother me, but I thought it'd be "ooh, ah." So I've got this little bit of paper, which was from that pack of craft papers, and then some little foam stickers with letters. And then I put some of that same paper on the inside. And it's kind of got a foil design on it. The same kind of pages, just to cover on the inside. So that's like collage, and I think I stuck this on with PVA glue, possibly with a glue stick. You can make further use of stickers. So I wrapped the entirety of some of them in that kebab shop paper, because I had Christmas cards, and I was like, for something where it's like a little bit generic, someone might want that. But for something that says Merry Christmas on it, that's a little bit limiting, I think. So this one I wrapped entirely in paper. So it's got this kind of matte finish on it. So it should be really easy to write on the cover as well, if people want to. And I stuck a sticker of a fire on it that I just happened to have. So you've got the option of stickers as well. You can do partial covers. I think that's the same. I used some duct tape on some of them. So this is some fancy duct tape that I got from Poundland, I think, a while ago. So it's got this kind of nice filigree on it. So I put a few rows of that all the way around, and then did the back cover of it as well. So then that covers the message completely, so there's no possible way of seeing through that. And that is pretty much it. So, oh, and this one was from my bestie, and it had a message in it from her, which I thought was really nice. "You are but small as a teacup, but your love is mighty." And I thought someone might buy this and then give it to their bestie. I say buy, I'm going to put them out somewhere so people can take them for free at an event. I'm working at an art event. So yeah, that's what I've got. So if you are somebody that does paper crafting. So you've got things like duct tape and stickers, and Pritt stick. Oh, I put a pressed flower on one, and I think this one's come out so nice. I'm keeping this one for me. I really like my press. I say it's a pressed flower. It's an oxtalis leaf, but I think they're very beautiful still, and they've got that flowery look. And if you've got cards that have got cute designs on the front, some nice duct tape or some stickers or bits of crafting paper that are nice. You can do a little bit more of a junk stuff. This is some D&D stuff that my partner printed out. So these are spells, and I just covered the whole thing in it, PVA glued it, and sewed some pages in, and now it's a notebook. So yeah, you can genuinely use stuff that's more junky or stuff that's less junky. For your pages, you've got either actual notebook inserts, or you can use whatever kind of paper that you've got that's plain enough to be a page. You potentially even use something like wrapping paper that might have like design on one side and then like plain on the other. So then you could have like every other page would have the design of the wrapping paper on it. You could have that as the first bit or the last bit, or you could use wrapping paper on the end papers or to cover the outside. Yeah, so all sorts that can be done. Imagination is the only limitation on it. And it felt like a really great way to repurpose a couple of little bits of stuff that would otherwise just go in the bin. And like, paper can be recycled. This isn't like fixing the entire environment or anything like that, but I don't know, it made my creative scavenger heart happy to know that something that would have gone in the bin otherwise isn't going in the bin, and maybe someone's going to get some joy out of these. And there's quite a lot of variety as well. Lots of different stuff to suit different people's styles. So I'm hoping that someone will be into everything. And it was a really fun, creative time. It was like a really playful time for me as well. So I got something out of it too. Yeah, just my soul is full, my heart is full, and my creative juice is squeezed. I don't know what the end of that is. Anyway, yeah, I'm really into scavenging, and I'm really into making the best of things. You can fit a lot of rubles in a dead rat if you really try. And on that note, I'll catch you later.